Hi, everyone. So, as we learned all of Newton's laws of motion, I just want to take a moment and talk about this man here, Isaac Newton, and review his three laws. So, instead of just memorizing the definitions of these laws of motion, I'm a big fan of visualizing, kind of creating that picture. So, remember his first law of motion, his nickname is the law of inertia. I like this soccer ball example. He's saying that an object at rest, like that soccer ball, is going to remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force. That force is the kid kicking the ball. And then the ball, the object in motion, is going to continue to have a constant speed and its direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. In this case, the net is stopping the soccer ball from moving. His first law again, law of inertia, it's going to stay at rest unless another force acts on it. That object will stay in motion unless another force acts on that. Visualize, think about this soccer ball. And remember, when we talk about the word force, a force is defined as a push or a pull that gives energy to objects and causes that change in motion. So again, that soccer ball was resting unless another object or a force acted on it. In this case, the push or the pull or the force was the kid kicking. Again, the force acting upon the ball when it was in motion to stop being in motion was that net, that soccer net that stopped that force from occurring. Now let's move on to his second law of motion. Okay, as a fifth grader, if you know how to do this equation, force is mass times acceleration, more power to you if you can do that math equation and solve for those answers to determine the force. But in fifth grade, you just need to know Newton's second law, explain it. Not expected to be able to do the math, but I always think it's nice to add some math to science here. So his second law is saying force is mass times acceleration. Okay, let's not just memorize that equation. And when you visualize it, look at that picture of him trying to move the basketball versus moving or applying a force to that car. Well, the greater the mass of an object, the greater that amount of force, remember, a push or a pull, is required to make that object accelerate. So the basketball, because it has a smaller mass, is going to be easier for him to push or pull or apply a force to that versus moving or pushing or pulling that car due to the mass. So think about school bus or a car. Which one is going to need more of a force to move? And obviously, it's a school bus due to it having a larger mass. So hopefully, think about that picture to understand his second law. And remember his second law, that unit when you are determining force is named after Sir Isaac Newton, and the unit is a Newton. So when you are finding the force in that equation, force is mass times acceleration, make sure you are using that unit called Newton. All right, and lastly, reviewing his third law of motion. This nickname is action and reaction. When I think of his third law, I visualize this rocket. Okay, think about rockets going up, and then we have air coming out of that rocket going in the opposite direction. Okay, or think about if you've ever gone kayaking, you're moving the paddle one direction and the kayak is moving in the opposite direction. Opposite action and reaction. Okay, so in simpler terms, his third law is saying for every action, there must be an equal, but yet an opposite reaction. Something goes one way, another part goes another way. So that is summing up all of Newton's laws. And hopefully you guys are experts at knowing his three laws of motion, nicknames, examples, if I were to ask you to put this all in perspective. So keep up your good work. Talk to you